time as well. So let's talk about healing streams of grace, because that sets the table for nearly any interaction you're going to do psychically or physically when you're using your gifts. And it helps me talk about forces and powers, your 11th chakra, your ability to command, and move into setting these lenses, helping you to set these lenses on your chakras that will help you attract like superpowers, supersonic spiritual qualities and energies, so that you can use them to make big things happen. It's interesting, as soon as I said that, my eye went to the command key on my computer, and it's like, that's exactly what we're seeking to do tonight, is learn about our ability to command, to, with the greater spirit, command for good and feel strong and complete about that as well. So healing streams of grace sets that up. Healing streams of grace, as I briefly mentioned last time, are streams of energy that are provided by the source, and they're always available. Grace to me is love in motion. It's love that makes a difference. Energy is information that moves. Grace is love that moves. And so it's my preferred source or type of energy, because they're actually streams of energy. They may be streams of sound, of color, of what we don't even know how to mention, what we can't even describe, because it's not of the body, it's of the spirit, that are always generated by and provided to anything, anybody, anywhere on an as needed or pre-needed basis. So you think of the sun, you see streams coming off of it, those are streams of grace. That's the analogy for me for streams of grace. Every single stream has a meaning, a purpose, an activity, something it can accomplish. And when you say, for instance, call streams of grace to you for a purpose you understand or don't understand, whatever's needed will come to you. It's delivered through spirit and or guides and or your spirit or other spirits. It's provided to you. The exact number of streams, the intensity, the direction of them, the colors, the types, polka dot, stripe, colorless, elements, whatever it might be, will be what they need to be. They're often like strands of different kinds of qualities or energies. They attach into or onto wherever they're needed. They stay as long as they need to. They change as they need to change or alter. It's sort of your quick, long fix for absolutely anything. You don't have to know what they are. You don't have to envision them or picture them. It's fun to look at them or to sense them or to hear them. I don't usually spend the time to do that, but you may want to over the next week, as we're really working with this idea of streaming forces or energies, because each is different. And each has a provision for whatever it is that is required or will be required. They can even attach in the future, and come back. They can attach in the past and come forward. There's nothing really about time when we're working with grace, to be honest. My substantiation for them, I'm going to mention a couple names because I think these are really important healers. If you like studying the tradition of healing, some of these two people don't always get mentioned. Back in the 1850s, there was a medical doctor named J.R. Newton, and you can get a book that's about him. It's something about Bethesda, and just look up, it's John, R. Newton, J.R. Newton, and healing. And he was a medical doctor, and he believed in science. He also was a Christian, and he was on a ship and upon which I think it was typhoid broke out. And he was not supposed to treat people because he was not the ship doctor. So all he could do was pray over people. So what was interesting is the sick people who went to the doctor, many of them became more ill or died. Everybody who came and prayed, and I mean prayed, he doesn't really pray in that traditional Pentecostal sense, that he prayed with, they recovered. They either didn't get sick or they recovered. And he started to go, what am I doing? There's no pill. I'm not injecting people with anybody. I'm not leeching them or whatever was in the 1850s. And he just started to understand that the law of love is such that there's healing for everybody. He believed and came to believe that the deceased are with us to help us, or many of the deceased with us can help us, that there's angels, that it doesn't really matter who or what you believe in, God loves everybody and will heal everybody. And that he didn't use the word grace, but that's really his idea, that grace was always available to help people. He traveled the world, I mean, at least the Western world, and became quite famous in his day. For instance, when he worked in Cleveland, like I think he healed 1,000 people, and the powers that be came after him and were trying to throw him in jail. And these people showed up and said, he healed me of this, he healed me of this. I couldn't walk and I can walk. He didn't spend more than 10 minutes with anybody, and he just felt love for them. But this is what's cool, I think. I just love this guy. In Wales, one of his patients saw this light, this beam of light come from him and come like from somewhere, like from John and from somewhere to him and enter him. And that's what was doing the healing. So to me, that's my depiction of healing streams of grace. And back in the 40s and 50s, there was a healer who led a group called the Circle of Friends, Bruno Groening, who very much worked the same way. He said there were streams of light that were available to anybody who could embrace them or believe in them, or whatever his language was, that were always available to do absolutely anything. And if you start to look at how healers across time and different cultures work, there's always some sort of ineffable presence that's drawn because of the power of love. So to me, those are universal streams of grace. I mentioned this, but didn't go into it last time as well. I believe we also have, those are universal. They're for anything, for everybody. For my dog, my dogs were so crazy before you guys, they were wild before I got on this call. I asked for streams of grace to try to calm them, and they're like totally sleeping. So we let sleeping dogs lie. And there we go, the modern Bethesda. It's available for $3. It's Bethesda. So that's where you can find and download a very old, kind of interesting, book written by his son. And Groening, I'm not sure I'm going to spell it right. It's something like this. It's Bruno Groening. So try something like that. Circle of Friends. Look up Circle of Friends, and you'll get Bruno's full name. So there's a second type of stream of grace, and I'm going to have you feel them in a second. We're not going to ask for specific reasons for them. Personal streams of grace are spiritual qualities that connect you and only you to the source. So your spirit's like a spark coming off the sun, and what makes your spirit different than the rest of you is it knows it's connected because there's streams of grace connecting it to the source, feeding it. Your spirit sends energy back, receives energy, gets its assignments, and healing's provided this way before it's even needed. Manifestation occurs absolutely automatically. So we all have personal streams of grace that are connected to our spirit, and our spirit not really being located in the body, but being timeless, being in our body, around the body, within the soul, around the soul, the mind, and sort of everywhere at once, in the source, outside of the source. But it knows it is connected, and there's personal streams that if we could bring them into our body, would activate the soul in the body and the right programs for the body, mind, and soul. So in our body, we can be who we really are. We will heal as we're supposed to heal. Very powerful to use